Okay, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar for the Parents as Leaders Training and Rally. Uh, I'm going to begin by discussing the Parents as Leaders training. I want to remind everyone that the Maryland Head Start Association is paying for the first 50 to register. Um, we're asking that each program register three people until the 50 is until we run out of spots. All right. So it's first come, first serve, up to three per program until the 50 slots are gone. Um, if we have spots available and programs are done registering, then we'll open it up for other programs to or for your program to register more parents if you'd like to register more parents. So I encourage everyone to go onto our website to to register uh, because people are beginning to register and slots are going away. I'm gonna if you go onto our website, you can go into the events, Parents as Leaders training, and you'll see the itinerary, the dates and times, and all the information that you need. When you get down towards the middle of the page, you'll see register now, where you can go in and register your information. All the information here is necessary, so please make sure you add all the information in. Okay. And there are hotel rooms that are there, um, information about hotels so that you can uh, decide whether or not you're going to stay, which hotels you'll stay at, etc. Uh, the hotel rooms for the actual, well, let me back up a minute. The Parents as Leaders training is held September 26th and 27th at the National 4-H Conference Center, which is located at 7100 Connecticut Avenue, Chevy Chase, Maryland, zip code 20815. Um, the 4-H Center is currently full. So if your parents are going to stay, they'll need to stay at one of these hotels here. And all of the hotels are pretty close to the 4-H Center, uh, but there will not be transportation from these hotels to the 4-H Center. So your parents will need to um, travel to the 4-H Center, however that is. If um, I mean, they are in walking distance. They're all, about a mile or so away, 1.5 miles away. But if you, you're driving, it's going to be much easier to just drive to the 4-H Center. All right. So if you are going to register parents to attend the Parents as Leaders training, just let them know that they'll have to, if they're going to stay at a hotel, they're not going to be able to stay at the 4-H Center. I mean, you can call the 4-H Center to see, but I believe they're booked and they'll need to stay at one of the alternative hotels. All right. Okay. Uh, I'll go back so I can show you the itinerary for the. Okay. So the Parents as Leader training, it begins the 26th of September. It's from 9 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. And then on the 27th is 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Um, on the 27th, though, is the Spirit Rally. That's the Head Start rally that'll be over on Capitol Hill, and I believe that there's going to be a trolley for parents who are attending the Parents as Leaders training. there's going to be a trolley or a bus or whatever that transports parents from the 4-H Center to the rally. And I believe that bus is going to leave at 7 a.m. from the 4-H Center to the rally. So that morning, if your parents are staying in a hotel that is an alternative hotel from the 4-H Conference Center, your parents will need to be at the conference center at 7 a.m. to catch the bus to the conference. I mean, to the rally. All right. The agenda at the rally on Tuesday the 26th. There'll be trainings that cover topics such as Head Start's roots and history, parent and family engagement, facilitating family nutrition and health, and program governance. In the afternoon, there'll be workshops that cover parents' role as their child's first teacher, the art of storytelling, public speaking and engagement, and Head Start program governance, and navigating the K through 12 school system. All right. Um, and then on the next day, the 27th, parents will join the Head Start rally. And again, there'll be transportation from the 4-H Conference Center to the rally. All right. And I think this will be a great, especially it'll be a great training for, especially for new parents that are just coming in this year, for them to, get acquainted with Head Start, start to understand how to advocate, um, advocating on, of course, this is advocating on a national level, but advocating locally as well. This would be a good introduction for parents who are interested. Okay. We went on lodging. And of course, you can register right there on the website. Once you register there, I'm taking that information and submitting it to the National Head Start Association. We have we're doing the registrations from our website so that we can keep track of who's attending and how many we have attending, because you know, we need to keep track so that we know how many we're paying for and so on. All right. Um, are there any questions about the Parents as Leaders training? Now, MHSA, we're paying for the first 50 to register. We're paying for the actual training, but we're not paying for the hotel. All right, so we're not paying for the hotel. So programs will need to pay for the hotels. We're paying for the training. All right, so I want to make sure that's clear. Make sure you guys understand that, so you don't think that we're paying for the hotel. We wish we could, but we don't have it in the budget right now. But we do have it in the budget to pay for the training. All right. Um, for some programs, maybe close to Chevy Chase, you may not need to pay for the training at all. I'm sorry, pay for the hotels. You can just transport yourselves in. For some of the programs that are coming from a little further away, you probably want to get there the night before. Uh, so you can pay for lodging. All right.
Hmm.
Now let's
Hello,
move on.
Simeon, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, this is Will Dixon. I may have missed it earlier, but the training itself is taking place at the 4-H Center. And what is the itinerary for the day for the training?
Yeah. Yep. The training itself is taking place at the Ford Center, and for the day, you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the agenda for the day is on the morning of the 26th. There'll be one, two, three, four workshops and discussion topics. Head Start's roots in history, parent and family engagement, facilitating family nutrition and health, and program governance. And then in the afternoon, they'll do parents' role as their child's first teacher, the art of storytelling, public speaking and engagement, and Head Start program governance, and then navigating the K through 12 school system.
All right.
Then in
And what is
evening, oh,
what
go
is the time slot for the day? And
ahead.
will all
So
and
the time slot for the day is 9 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Right.
okay.
So after the workshops, they're gonna have them come together to share some insights and dialogue and discuss leadership and leadership roles and how to advocate in within your community, things like that.
Will parents have an opportunity to experience all of the workshops, or will they have to select various workshops for the day?
Now they experience all of the workshops.
Okay.
From what I understand, they experience all of the workshops.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and then the next
Thank
day, the next morning, there's transportation from 4-H to to the rally, and I believe that bus leaves at 7 a.m. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. So if parents are staying in a hotel other than the 4-H center, they'll need to leave they need to be at the 4-H center at 7 a.m.
okay.
Okay.
And is this for also for parents who are maybe a little bit more local? Do all parents have to arrive with the bus?
No,
Is that
no, they don't. And we're gonna discuss that now. Um,
okay?
so as it is now for the rally begins at 11 a.m. and it ends at 12:30. After the rally, there'll be center hill visits. Right. I know every program may not do hill visits, but the rally, and what we'll do there, we'll talk about the hill visits in a little bit. But the rally is located near the Russell Senate Building between New Jersey Avenue and Delaware Avenue. It's not far from Union Station. Here's a map to show exactly where it is. So here's the rally here, right? The Russell Senate office building is here, and I'll zoom out a little bit. Union Station is here. All right. So it's easy to, catch the metro into Union Station and then walk on over to the rally. And when the bus leaves the 4-H center, the bus is going to park at Union Station so that parents can walk over to the rally. All right. Now, if you have staff that are attending the Leadership Institute, the Leadership Institute is actually in Crystal City. All right. There's not going to be NHSA is not paying for a bus for staff to get from Crystal City to the rally. Staff members will need to find their own transportation, which you can do through the metro. It wouldn't be that hard, but they're not going to pay for that. And if there are anyone going back and forth from the Leadership Institute to the leadership, I'm sorry, the parents as leaders training to the Leadership Institute, then those people would need to pay for their own transportation back and forth. All right. But for the rally, Union Station is the closest metro um, from the leaders, parents as leaders training. The, the buses will come to the Union Station, and then parents can walk from Union Station to the route. All right, so I'll blow it up again, and you can see exactly where the rally is going to take place in this little triangle here. All right. Um, Currently, any parents who are not attending the Parents as Leaders training, they need to provide their own transportation in, whether it be their own personal transportation and they can park at Union Station because that's the closest, or catching the metro in. Right. We are um, discussing ways to possibly provide a bus. I'm actually meeting with the National Head Start Association tomorrow uh, to see who, if there's someone in the state that we can get to sponsor a few buses. And if we can get a few buses sponsored, then we'll have some buses set up in some designated locations where people can meet there and catch the bus in, and we'll pay for parking at Union Station. We'll know that by next week. All right. By next week, we'll know if we're going to have buses or not, and where they'll be situated. So by the time we meet next week, hopefully by the time we meet next week, I'm not going to say for sure because we meet Wednesday next week. Um, I'll at least know if we're going to have buses by the time we meet next week, and then by the time somewhere in between next week and the week after, I'll know exactly where those buses will be located for parents to meet and bring and catch those buses in. The plan would be if we could get more than one bus to have a few locations set up around the state. You have parents from Western Maryland that that could be a 3-4 hour trip coming to DC. Same thing coming from the Eastern Shore. So we see if we could set them up strategically so those parents don't have to drive as far. They can bring the bus into DC, attend the rally, and then go back to those locations. Hopefully, we'll have that worked out next week. Uh, we're definitely actively working on it. All right. We will have a tent. Um, the Maryland Head Start Association will have a tent there so that our parents can convene in one location. Uh, and we can, and of course, discuss any logistics that are going on. We'll have some information there for hill visits and things like that, so people can come there and get any information that they need for hill visits. All right, and once we have everyone in the we have all of our parents who are attending, and we know who their senators are, then we'll set up meetings for people, and we'll have teams to go out and visit so that we don't have, we don't want to have 20 people trying to visit one person in one office that's really small. You know, we'll have teams that are going out to visit your representatives, and with information and um, exactly what we like to say and so on.
So just so that I'm clear, you're saying that MHSA is going to set up the appointments with Congress and representatives, and then kind of organize the the teams for the various times of visits. That is
Exactly.
that what I'm hearing? Okay.
Exactly. We'll set them up as we get. We need to know who's attending the rally and what their addresses are. That way, we know exactly who their representatives are, and then we can reach out to their representatives and set up those meetings. And once we have those meetings set up, then we'll start calling around to the programs and putting together some teams to go out to those representatives, right? So that way we don't have, we don't want to have each program setting up their meetings, and then you have you know uh, uh, one representative with 3 or 4 meetings, all from Maryland Head Start Association, right? So we want to set it up so that they have one meeting with representatives from the Maryland Head Start Association, but who are their constituents. All right. So we'll set up the meetings and then we'll get a team together to go out.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So we'll have a tent there, and we're working on the. Hopefully, we can get the buses, and we're working on the transportation. Yeah. If we're unable to get the buses, then parents will be responsible to get themselves to, and most likely with their programs, get yourselves to the rally, either through personal transportation or through the metro. Those two options are going to be the easiest. If you catch a lift or whatever, that's going to be kind of expensive. Uh, jumping on the metro or your own transportation is going to be the most cost effective. But we're working diligently on trying to get trying to get a bus or two. All right, and the hill visits going to be just as I discussed. As we get everyone's information, we'll set up those visits, and then send teams out, and we'll make sure that those teams um, have the information that they need, and we'll have some webinars or meetings to make sure that we kind of brief them, and they understand exactly what they need to do. Yeah. And those hill visits, it says 12:30 to 5. It doesn't mean that they'll be meeting, of course, meeting for that long. Their meeting can be any time in between there, and you know we'll uh, we'll let know accordingly. And then after your meeting, the parents can head out if they like to. Right? Especially if they've come in, use their own transportation to come in, or the metro, and they need to leave. That's okay. Yeah. So right now we have a little over 50 people who have registered for the rally. Um, we're trying to get up to 200 for the state. That's what we'd like to do. Um, we figure, we're close. We should have very good representation because we're close. So we'd like to get up to 200 people registered. So, I'm asking everyone to, on our website, you can register for the parents rally on our website. All right. And we're asking for people to go ahead and register how many parents even if you're not exactly sure right now, just register how many parents you think you can get, right? Um, we're asking each program to try to send at least 10. If you can send more, that's great. Um, but if we get 10 from each program, that's over 200 people. We know some programs may not be able to send that amount. But you can register right on our website. All we need is the primary contact person, their title, phone number, and the amount that you anticipate that you'll send, your program name, address, city, etc. And then later on, I'm going to find out, for those programs that have signed up, I'm going to send out something so you can list each person and I can get their address and we can set up meetings. All right. Um, so, I'm encouraging people to go ahead, and give us a number, that way I can submit it to the National Head Start Association, or we can start to, they can start to see exactly how many people are going to attend. They'd like to get 1,000 nationwide. That's what they're looking at. And of course, us being local, we're a big part of it. All right. So I'm encouraging everyone to just go in, um, you know, sign up how many you realistically believe that you can bring to the rally, so that we can begin to formulate a number, and know exactly how many we'll have. Um, and it's going to help us prepare so that when we have our tent there, um, when we need things like water and maybe some snacks or things like that, we'll have a good idea of the number of people that'll be there. Yeah, and
To go back just a little bit. So the bus is leaving 4-H Center at 7 a.m. and parents, I guess those who are on the transportation or taking transportation, I guess they're going to be expected to stay through the duration of the day. I mean,
um,
would there
well,
be?
I guess I guess it depends. That's a good question, and I'll need to. I'm meeting with the National Head Start Association tomorrow. I need to clear that up with the National Head Start Association. Um, I'm not sure if they would need to stay throughout the day, especially if they're local and they can, they have all their, belongings with them and they can get home. I don't see why they would need to stay throughout the day. I'm not sure if those buses are keeping account of everyone that's on the bus. But that's a good question, and I'll make sure I ask in my meeting tomorrow.
And secondly, is there going to be anything um, to distinguish Maryland families? Are there like T-shirts or expected colors or anything like that to just or no? Just
Uh, we we haven't decided if we're going to have if we're going to have T-shirts or anything like that as of yet. Um, I know the National Head Start Association, they're giving out T-shirts. So there'll be, I'm not exactly sure where the registration or the entrance is going to be, but I know they're giving out T-shirts as you enter. They're giving T-shirts to participants. Now, we will have our own location, and we could, uh, and we'll have a banner there, um, and we could decide on wearing a certain color, or I'll speak with the board, or and find out maybe if we want to get. I don't know if we want to get T-shirts, but just something little that everyone can have on to say that they're part of the Maryland Head Start Association.
right.
Yeah. Um, and I'll speak with them. I'll be meeting with Yvonne later on tonight, um, and we'll come up with something so that we can recognize the Maryland Head Start Association. By the time next week is here, we meet next Wednesday. I'll I'll let you know exactly what we'll have that's going to identify us.
Okay. Because I was a little concerned, especially with attire, because it came up in my meeting. What should parents wear, especially for the Hill visits, and of course, young ladies and women were concerned about being at a rally and then going to the Hill. um, because they wanted to look a certain part as a parent advocate. Um, and so I just
Yeah. So what the NHSA is recommending is that they wear business attire, right? Suits and ties for men. And women are encouraged to wear, dresses, pants, skirts, or pantsuits. And like I said, NHSA will be giving out T-shirts at the rally. So if they're comfortable wearing a T-shirt, that'll be fine. And then of course comfortable shoes, because you'll be on your feet at the rally, and then walking around to visit people on the Hill. and then of course packing an umbrella or something like that. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but we will, and then to identify who we are, we'll have something to just in the event that someone is off in the distance and we need to identify them, we'll have something that we can use to identify the Maryland Head Start Association. But of course, we'll also have our tent there the whole time. So if someone is lost, got separated from the group, they could always go back to our tent, um, and then be there until, and then we can contact, because we'll have a list of everyone and who are, uh, who's in the group, and we can contact their group and say, hey, so and so is here at the tent. Are there any other questions regarding the training or the rally? And I know there'll probably be questions coming up a little bit later. You may have some questions a little later, or when you meet with you have staff meetings or whatever. Um, some questions may come up. You can feel free to email me, or you can save them for the next meeting. Um, the next meeting is next Wednesday at 11. And during that meeting is when I should have more information about the buses, and let you know what we're gonna do. About identifying who Maryland Head Start Association. And
I
what?
have a staff meeting today, and so I'm sure there are going to be some questions that come up, and so look to get an email from me or some kind of communication.
Okay, yeah, that's not a problem. Yeah, send it to me. I will, I'll answer it. Or if I don't have the answer and it's something I need to get from the National Head Start Association, then I'll get that answer from them. Um, do you have an idea? Have you discussed about how many you think you could bring? Will?
Oh yeah, we have talked about it. I mean, we're definitely going to try to get at least 10 for the rally. We're going to talk today specifically around the who's confirmed or how we're going to invite families. And I think one of the considerations is um, for our bilingual families.
Mm-hmm.
Will there be some during the training? Will there be an accommodation for bilingual families, specifically speaking Spanish speaking families?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay, let me ask that tomorrow. That's the first that at least from my meetings with him, that's the first time that uh, that's come up. So let me ask them tomorrow and see
Right.
if they
The
would.
portion of our program is largely uh, bilingual or Spanish speaking, and I know those families will be invited.
Right.
Um,
Okay. Definitely. I'll ask that tomorrow. Um, and I can have an answer. I'll have an answer for you tomorrow.
okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely have an answer for that tomorrow. Um, Now, one more thing about the rally. The rally begins at 11, but we'll be there at 9, between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Um, MHSA will be there at, at that time. Um, we'd like to, people will start piling in early. The National Head Start Association is recommending people get there around 10, but we'll be there at 9. Uh, so we can have a good handle on things while we're there.
And I know you may have said this, it's kind of lingering in the back, but for those parents, individuals who are not able to make the training and are able to participate in the rally and the hill visit, is there going to be an opportunity for them to have, I guess, some kind of guidance on the talking points or how to conduct themselves before, or is that primarily the program should take on that and make that happen?
No, we'll set up webinars for those parents so that we can, kind of, so we can go over and just talk about some things, some talking points, and how, how we would like to address, how we should address. It's probably going to be their staffers that they meet with, but how we should address them, and how we want to set up that meeting. And
Okay.
we'll go into each meeting with an agenda, so that they're not just going off the cuff. We'll have an agenda, and we'll know who's going to speak when and where. I don't know if you were able to attend the Head Start Day in Annapolis in back in March, um,
Mhm.
but we had, each person had a package, and there was an agenda in the package, and we had each team um, discuss who was going to speak and when. Right. So when they went down the agenda, each person knew when it was their time to speak. And, of course, there were some people who maybe went off. I don't want to say went off, but, maybe had a little something other to add, and that was fine. But generally, they knew who was going to speak and when, and kind of help to ease their nerves a little bit, knowing what they were going to be able to say. They were able to think about it beforehand, and we'll do the same thing here. And we'll have some time to, we'll have a few webinars, um, so that those teams and those parents can, talk a little bit. And we'll also have a PowerPoint, that for those who may not be able to attend the meeting can look at the PowerPoint and, just kind of understand a little bit about, how to present themselves during the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll definitely schedule webinars for the parents to sit on, and we'll make sure that they're at times that are easiest for parents. Whether that might be an evening, and if need be, uh, you know, um, I can come out to your program, and meet with the group of parents. That's not a problem either.
Okay. Great.
So, do we have any more questions about either the training or the leadership or the rally? If not, I'm going to take the questions that I got today. I'm going to take them back. I'm going to speak with the National Head Start Association so that we can, get some answers to those questions. Um, I will make sure that I have an update on the transportation situation next week, as well as what we're going to wear to identify ourselves. Um, I'll make sure that I have those answers next week, if not before next week. Um, and I'm going to. This has been recorded, so I'm going to download it, upload it to YouTube, put it out so that other people can hear it. Um, and then again, we meet next week at 11, next Wednesday at 11 a.m. We'll have another meeting, but we'll have some more updates Hopefully, we'll get more people to join the meeting. If you have questions, you can email me or save them until next week. Um, and if you know other program managers, directors, family service workers, um, encourage them to join the meeting or register their parents for the parents as leaders training, especially because those slots are limited. At least the free slots are limited, and for the rally, so that we can, we want to be well represented. We can get up, if we can get 200 people, that'd be great. All right, so we definitely want to be well represented. If we don't have any more questions, I'll go ahead and wrap this up, and look forward to hearing from you guys and meeting with you next week. Remember, it's next week, next Wednesday at 11 a.m.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
All right.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you. Have a good day.
everybody, and have a great day. And I'll look forward to seeing you next week.